Miami Dolphins met with all of the free agents we have now. I swear. I said it on Twitter. Teron Armstead has not signed with the Dolphins yet. And I have a feeling he's going to do it while I'm recording this. What is up, Fin fans? Yes, all of the free agents that we brought in, Teddy Bridgewater, Collins, all those guys, not the guys we re-signed, have met with the media. So I have their transcripts here. You can go check out the full interview on the Miami Dolphins YouTube channel. They have the full interview there. I'm just going to go over little tidbits here and there because I have their transcripts here. We're going to talk about what they said and all that stuff. And then I get to comment of the day, which is an interesting one. But before we jump into that, I got to shout out two new members, and Ricardo Joseph and Moya TV. Thank you guys so much for being members. Again, if you are members, you get a special perk where you guys have the opportunity to become mods. Please don't take advantage of that. You know the rules of being a mods. There are special videos for you guys. So if you are a member, please go to the member page and see the special videos for you guys. And if you become a patron, which is also linked below, please go to the Patreon site and see the special videos made for you there. Got a ton of perks, and I added new perks for patrons. You notice that MVP perk, you have two new perks on there. Same with the membership. The very top member has a new perk in there. So if you'd like to join, hit the join button next to subscribe for members, and the Discord for the Patreon linked below. But let's jump into this. I'm going to start from the bottom of the top, essentially the first guy that they talked to, and that is Teddy Bridgewater. And there is a lot of, I wouldn't say controversy, but there's a lot of, stuff going around with Teddy Bridgewater and Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm going to talk, they asked him, have you had conversations with Tua since you have signed last week? He says, no, I haven't. I'm pretty sure we'll talk here in the future, obviously. I don't think anyone's really at the facility. Everyone's doing their own thing right now. The big thing I want to talk about with Teddy Bridgewater is, let's talk about this. When did you learn your experience in Denver last year, and what are your thoughts on them trading for Russell Wilson, which I think is very interesting. He says, this is business. It's been great time. It's been great to me. It's an open door for me. It gives me opportunity after opportunity. That's what Denver did for me. They gave me a chance to continue to grow in this league, and I appreciate them for trading for me from Carolina. Yes, if you guys don't know, he started at Minnesota, then he went to Carolina, and then he went to Denver. Last year was great just to be a part of that organization. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about, what he talked about with the Miami Dolphins. So they asked him, can you share with us what the Dolphins told you specifically about your role coming to the team? And he said, honestly, man, that's a conversation I'd rather keep in-house. It's a unique opportunity for me, for this organization. I'm happy that I could be a part of it this season. I'm going to be the best version of Teddy that I can be. Help the way I know how to help. Be genuine and still give my all to this game. They also asked him, are you coming in with the idea that you will be backing up Tua, or do you feel that you might have a shot to earn the starting job? He says that's something the coaches and we talk about. I'm confident in the conversation, and it's really something that I'd rather not discuss publicly. So again, everyone wants to make this into a quarterback competition. Everyone wants to make this into something that it's not. We all know that Mike McDaniel, even Greer and Stephen Ross came out. This is Tua's team this year. As much as some people don't want it to be Tua's team this year, this is Tua's team this year. I will say this. I told you guys I like the bringing in of Teddy Bridgewater. I also told you guys that I like competition, but it's obvious. This is Tua's team. But I like the competition, and I like bringing in Teddy. Now, obviously, there is no competition. This is Tua's team. I'll say that again, just for people who want to doubt that. But I like bringing in Teddy because it makes Tua look over his shoulder. and it makes Tua play his best game. That's what I honestly think. I don't think they did that on purpose. I don't think they're like, well, let's bring in somebody that's going to blah, blah, blah. I honestly think that what they did was they brought in a quarterback that, God forbid, Tua does go down, which the past 2 seasons he went down with an injury. He had the hand injury, the finger injury that took him out of 2 games, which were very confusing because he was the backup in those games. Then he had the rib injury. So he's had injuries that have taken him out. And I think what the Dolphins did here is they're afraid that might happen again, so they don't want to be in another situation where they have Jacoby Brissett type backup where we lose 4 straight games without Tua in there, without your starting quarterback in there, because it's such a, to me anyway, it's such a downgrade and a difference in play style. So I like the bringing in of Teddy Bridgewater because, like I said, for me it feels like Tua's looking over his shoulder a little bit. Now, obviously, he knows this is his team. They publicly made it known it's his team, blah, blah, blah. But he knows for a fact if he starts to suck, if they start to go on a losing streak, if anything happens where then all of a sudden the questions of put Teddy in starts to happen. So he's always going to be looking over his shoulder, which to me, I think is a good thing because it's going to push him to play his best, to play his hardest, because he has to play that way because he has a very viable backup in Teddy Bridgewater behind him. Also, God forbid he does get injured, like I said, I'm not as worried as I was with Jacoby Brissett because I honestly think that Teddy can come in and play very well in spurts. Now, if Teddy Bridgewater is your starting quarterback from beginning to end, that's a horse of a different color. But to come in and play in spurts is very good. So again, I like the acquisition of Teddy Bridgewater for that simple fact that I honestly think it's going to push Teddy to be the best he can be and to make him not necessarily rest on his laurels, but not be complacent, because that's my biggest thing with not having a competition, especially at the quarterback position. You get complacent and you get, this is my team. Who do I have to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying he's going to do that or he will do that, but I do like the fact that he kind of has to look over his shoulder a little bit. I want to talk, I want to react to some of the guys who really, I did, because yesterday I did Ingold and I did the running back. My brain is just not working. Not Mostert. He just met with Chase Edmonds. So I want to do guys that I didn't hear from yet, and that's one of them is Cedric Wilson Jr. He met with the media as well. He says, what is your first impressions of head coach Mike McDaniel, how you fit in the offense that he's seeking to bring here? He says, the first thing that is definitely not on paper, not in the news, is just how personal he is. And just a guy that when you sit down and talk to him, it doesn't feel like you're always talking to an NFL head coach. That's just his basic philosophy of greatness. Of what he wants to achieve. He definitely has some similar things in mind, and just the overall competitive nature that you get from someone from the first time sitting down with them. And I think, back in the day, because there's some OG Dolphin fans that follow me, and some of them don't like Mike McDaniel because they like the way football used to be, right? The head coach would chew you out. You had 2-a-days. You did all these different drills. It was different. It was hard-nosed. It was football. It was, getting dirty. You got your teeth are missing. It's just football. But it seems like the NFL is evolving to a different style. And I think Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins going for Mike McDaniel is going to work because of that evolution to a different style of football where it's not, I'm going to berate you until you do your job. It's more, let me figure out how we can work together. Let me put you in the right situation. Look, I can help you out. And it's not like a situation where it's like, all right, Jimmy, no, we're not going to yell, because I see parents do that and it drives me nuts where they're like, listen, we use our, like, when I was a kid, things thrown at me. Anyway, but it's a situation where I'm going to lead by example, Mike McDaniel. You've seen what I could do. You've seen I can put people in places to be successful. And that's what he says. I have to show, you remember Mike McDaniel's interview, I have to show them that I can make them successful. I can get the best out of them, because then they trust me and they listen to me. So if all of a sudden the Dolphins start working, all of a sudden players start to see, oh, Devontae Parker's staying healthy. He's already got like 600 yards out of 7 games. Look at that. Oh, look at Tua Tagovailoa. He's already thrown for 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions out of having, oh, look at this. All right, maybe Mike McDaniel has something there. Let me listen to him because he's showing he can do what he knows what he can do. They ask him, can you also throw the ball? You also can throw the ball. I've seen talking about Cedric Wilson Jr. and get involved in different ways in the offense. Does head coach Mike McDaniel excite you as a play caller in that regards? He says, I mean, yes, that's a factor of obviously I can throw it, so hopefully that gets used. I can't necessarily say too much about the offense because obviously we haven't looked over and read about it too much, but obviously knowing what he did in San Francisco and playing them and watching them, they were a heck of an offense, and I'm sure he has a lot more tricks up his sleeve that he's already shown in the playoffs. The Cowboys saw firsthand what the 49ers can do with that offense and all that stuff. He says, they asked him, have you reached out to the quarterback Tua Tagovailoa yet to try to work on your timing with him? Have you got in contact with him at all? He says, yeah, we're good. No, I'm just kidding. He says, imagine I say, yeah, we're good. I'm going to move on from that. Yeah, we're good. We're trying to set up to see where we can definitely get out there to throw together. I've got a lot of stuff to get moving on. I've got family that I've got to get situated, and what we're about to do. As soon as we get together, we're going to hit the ground running. And that's the biggest thing with Tua, right? We all see these videos of Tua working out. I just saw a video of Jalen Waddle consistently working out. I've seen a video of Robert Hunt working out. I've seen a video of Solomon McKinley working out. This is not on the subject, but I just find it funny that people get outraged with Tua's videos, but no one gets outraged with Solomon McKinley, Robert Hunt, or Jalen Waddle. I just find it funny how that works. But we've seen last year around this time, I think it was after the draft or before the draft, where he was with his receivers, throwing passes and working on the playbook and all that stuff. I could see that happen again. As much as people think that Tua is lazy because of this false narrative pushed about golfing, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. He's a leader. So he's going to bring the guys together. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. So that's Cedric Wilson Jr. Again, there's so much more that he says. Be sure to go check out the full interview on the Miami Dolphins page. So this is now we're talking to Raheem Mostert. I'm gonna for some reason my brain can't comprehend Mostert. It wants to change the name for some reason. They ask him, there's obviously a connection with you and Mike McDaniel. I feel you're better suited than anyone to answer this. Just being and working with him up close, what can you tell us about Mike McDaniel? Why he's so ready to take the role as the leader and the coach of the Miami Dolphins? And he says, Mike McDaniel's one heck of a coach. But me personally, dealing with him for the last several years and get to know him more on a personal level, he just wants the best out of the players no matter what transpires throughout the rest of the team. In his role, that's what he had with the 49ers. He definitely exemplified a guy that can go out there and get players pumped up, including myself. We would have these games where I could come in for the game plan, and he would be talking to me and stuff like that to get me ready to go out there and perform at a high level. Mike is definitely one of those coaches that has a lot of tenacity. Love that word, tenacity. He brings a lot of charisma, stuff like that is ultimately going to lead players in the right direction. With the opportunity that he has right now, it's definitely going to be magnified on a much bigger scale because, like I said, he's just an unbelievable coach and a great guy. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see how this whole thing turns out. That is the thing that I'm interested to see with Mike McDaniel. Because all of the players you've interviewed, right, whether it's Pierre Garçon, who I think he worked with him in San Fran or Atlanta, but I know he worked with him. You have Raheem Mostert. Again, I just did it again. You have Kittle. You have all these guys, even Wes Welker with the coaching, have come out and said great things about Mike McDaniel. And you hear he's very personable with the players. That is a huge difference from someone like Joe Philbin, who made moves and did things. And we saw in Hard Knocks that the players were like, why couldn't you at least talk to us about this? You know, we could help you with certain. And he's like, like when they got rid of Chad Johnson. shocked the hell out of Carlos Dansby, if you remember. Reggie Bush, they were all like, what? You're okay, well, maybe next time we can talk to these players and blah. Like, they're even with Brian Flores, right? A lot of people were like, oh, they don't like the defensive staff, and a lot of the defensive players don't like Josh Boyer, and the defensive players were more like they liked Brian Flores more, and they liked Gerald Alexander more, da-da-da-da. If that's the case, why did every single one of them come back? Why is it the same exact defensive players? Emmanuel Ogbah came back, and he even said he had an offer to go to Buffalo, and he decided to stay in Miami. So there's a lot of these narratives, but you want a guy who's personable and can help these players. Now, again, I'm not, predicting anything, but I'm interested to see how he's going to work with these guys. And then we hear from Connor Williams, and they ask him, when were you sold on Miami? Were you brought in here specifically to play guard? Were there ever any talks about moving you to tackle, or was it you are strictly coming in here to play guard? He says, I think as of now, it's still really open. After meeting the coaches and everything, they've seen my ability to play really any position. Obviously, most of my footwork in the league has been at guard, and at that, it's been at left guard, and I feel most comfortable at left guard. But also, they understand that I could probably play tackle. I could play center, so it really, wherever I'm needed and wherever I'm placed is where I'm willing to work. Now, I wouldn't want to play him at tackle. Bring in Armstead, bring in another tackle, maybe even draft another tackle, maybe to play the right side. I don't know if that's their thought process right now. But when he said center, that intrigued me, right? Now, I'm hearing from certain scouts, and I'm hearing from certain people that he has qualities and he can be very, very, very good at playing center. Now, if they don't get a center and they plug in Connor Williams at center and they bring in Teron Armstead to play tackle, then all of a sudden what I wanted kind of gets answered. But I'd still want to go after Treader, because then all of a sudden that whole left side of the line is fixed. Then you have Robert Hunt, and then you just need to find a right tackle, and then all of a sudden that whole offensive line is just beautiful. But to put him at center, it was intriguing to me. They asked him, did head coach Mike McDaniel give you any insight on what the direction would be based on in terms of whether you'd stay at guard, perhaps move to tackle? Redundant question when he just answered it before, guys. I think the image of the team is like a living and breathing organism right now. Once we get on the field, once the team starts coming to life and seeing who we are and what our identity is, I think that's when we'll start to be more clear. Which, a lot of it now is speculation. Oh, I can play here, and then they're like, well, maybe we'll put you here. But they got to get on the field, OTAs, minicamp, training camp, all that stuff. And Applebaum and the offensive coordinator need to see. That's why I love that the offensive coordinator worked with offensive lines, so he can help see, okay, he's struggling here because he doesn't do well with this type of move. Maybe we should put him here because he won't get that type of move as much. So you know what I'm saying? So they need to get on the field. But it was a very redundant question, kind of asked the same question twice. Real quick about Connor Williams, because I'm guilty of it as well, but a lot of people talk about his penalties and how that seems to be a problem. But I went back, because I was even like, wow, 15 penalties? That's a lot. I went back and I looked, and this was his only year with that many penalties. This was the only year that made you go, that's not good. Because in 2020, he only had 4 penalties. In 2019, he only had 6. And in 2018, he only had 5. So his penalties for him isn't that big of a problem, which makes me like this signing even more, especially at left guard, because, like I said, his rookie year, only 5 penalties. The year after, only 6. The year after that, only 4. His second-round pick. And then this year, for some reason, he had 15. I don't know what the big difference was, that all of a sudden he had 15 penalties. But that's the thing I looked at, because I was like, is that going to be a problem? But no, not really. It's not going to be a problem. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about with him is, they asked him a lot about the zone scheme in Miami and all that stuff. He says, I think one thing is clear is that that was one of the best things we did in Dallas, was coming off the ball, running side to side, getting the D-line moving, getting the defense off their feet, and then penetrating the defense with the run game. Once you get the defense on the heels, then you can get them in the air. Once you dish it out after talking to the coach, you can tell his excitement in bringing this new zone run into Miami. This is part of the reason I'm here, to be part of the building block of starting a great zone scheme. I think the biggest part of this of that is the cohesiveness of the team. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone is working together, and after reps, it starts manifesting on its own. And that's why I'm very interested to see how this zone run is going to work with the Dolphins, and which offensive lineman do we have right now on the roster is going to work that way, because like Solomon Kinley and some of these big guys that we have on the offensive line, our philosophy the past 3 years has not been this finesse zone run style offense. It has been a different style of offense. And now all of a sudden, these big guys, you got to be able to move left to right. And that was a big thing that I noticed when I was breaking down film, was a hard time with these guards, especially if they pitch or try to run to the outsides. These guards had a hard time pulling. Even the center had a hard time pulling in theater to get over there and help with the blocks. So we're gonna see which offensive linemen stick with this offense. But I'm also interested to see, like he said, once you get that defensive line moving, you can knock them on their butt. So it's going to be very interesting. But that's essentially, some of the tidbits that I thought were very interesting from these guys. Again, they met with Connor Williams, Chase Edmonds. They met with Raheem Mostert. They met with Ingold, Cedric Wilson Jr., Teddy Bridgewater, and Keon Crossan. Keon Crossan said the reason he came to the Miami Dolphins was because of Josh Boyer, which again, it made me go, really? Because a lot of people were talking about that the Dolphin defensive players and all those guys hate Josh Boyer. Keon Crossan came here for Josh Boyer. All the defensive players came back. So I find that very interesting. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think about what these players had to say. What's your thoughts on Teddy Bridgewater? What's your thoughts on the zone run offense? What's your thoughts on Mike McDaniel? Be sure to comment below, and I'm going to get to comment of the day. And this comment comes from Alvaro. And this I'm not picking on Alvaro, but I've seen comments, especially when I do Big O shows, that kind of are the same sentiment. And that's why I'm picking this one, just so I can address it. And Alvaro says, comment of the day. Today, new fancy schmancy intro. Next, he'll block anyone who doesn't like Big O. Hashtag give it time. Now, again, nothing against Alvaro. I'm picking this as comment of the day. First, because he said comment of the day at the beginning. So I'm like, all right, you wanted to be comment of the day. And two, just so I can address this, right? First and foremost, I work with Big O because he has experience and he has different takes, and I think we work well together, right? He has what he does on his channel. He doesn't bring that to my channel. We even talk about it. I'm like, listen, this is kind of PG channel. I have younger viewers, blah, blah, blah. And he understands. He has his opinions. I respect his opinions. Are his opinions always right? No. Do I agree with all of his opinions? No. It's going to be interesting when we get together tomorrow to sit down and talk, because I still have my reservations about free agency and he probably doesn't. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation that we're going to have tomorrow. But that's, Big O is Big O. People are going to like him. People are going to hate him. And it is what it is. He has his opinions. There's that. The other thing I want to talk about in this comment is that he says next he'll block anyone who doesn't like Big O. Give it time. I will never, ever, and I have never in the 4 years I've been doing this channel, block someone because of their opinion. I will never block anybody because they don't like a guest. I will never block anybody because I've had people attack me. I've had people say, you shouldn't be, how do you have a YouTube channel? Why are people giving you money? Why are, I had one person say, I'm going to get a group of people together to take your channel down. I've had somebody say that to me because they don't like my opinion. I did not block them. I block people who are bots that just spam the comment section trying to promote things that they shouldn't promote or promote things in general. I block people who attack my subscribers. I've had a guy, like I said, attack somebody asking me what jersey he should get, and he went after him saying a grown man shouldn't wear another man's name on his shirt, and called him names, blocked. And you get like 3 or 4 or 5 strikes until I block you, and that was his 5th strike because he kept coming after me, especially when I was trying to raise money for Brian's family after Brian unfortunately passed away. He came after me calling me fake. Then block him for that. I never block people. So for the fact of Avero saying I would block anybody because they don't like Big O and give it time just because I have a new intro, which took me a while to work on, you'd think people would understand and respect that I'm trying to make this channel better for you guys. Nothing to do with me. I was just like, wow, that hurts. That kind of hurts that somebody would think that. You would think they would know me by now. I've been doing this for 4 years. I've never blocked anyone for their opinions. And again, I've had people say some nasty things to me. I don't block them. I don't block anyone unless you cross a line. Unless you start attacking my dudes, my girls in the comment section. Then I block you. You're disrespectful to them. You call them names. You threaten them. All right. Listen, cut it out. And then I block you. So, Alvaro, we've talked a little bit under your comment. I just want to clarify. I won't ever block anybody for disagreeing with Big O. That's just not who I am, and I'll never be that. I started at 1,000 subs. I interacted with all you guys in the comment section. I read all your comments. I'm now almost at 32,000, and I'm still doing the same thing. I will never change. If I ever hit 1 million, hope to pray to God, I will still be the same exact person I was when I started with 1,000. Because without you guys, without the people in the comment section, without the support of the members and the patrons, I would not be anywhere. So why would I be disrespectful to you guys? But other than that, guys, I will see you hopefully when Teron Armstead signs his contract. If not, I'll see you tomorrow with Big O. But anyway, like usual, stay classy and fins up.